Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. We just passed 200,000 views on the YouTube channel. I appreciate your guys' support so much. Every single one of you guys that have watched, it means a lot. And definitely can't wait to make more videos in the future. Now, we got to break down the Week 10 games in the NFL. Can't believe we're basically halfway through the season. Time has been flying by, but I'm going to take my best crack to break down every single one of these games and see who I think will win or lose, because the NFL has been wild this season to try to predict. On Thursday Night Football, you got two teams that are nowhere near the playoff picture, in the Carolina Panthers, who are 1-7, and the Chicago Bears, who are 2-7. Chicago does have the home field advantage, so that will help them out. Justin Fields is questionable. He could play, but we're not 100% sure. Tyson Bagent, the backup quarterback, that was a Division II quarterback in college. He's had his moments. He's thrown a few too many picks, but he can play, and he can lead the Chicago Bears offense fairly competently. But if Justin Fields plays, it would make it a little bit easier for Chicago to win. Carolina's been really struggling on offense. Bryce Young has not been able to play consistent football. He's had a couple of good performances, but he had 3 picks in their last game. The Carolina Panthers are not a terrible football team all around. They have some talent, but with Bryce Young's inconsistencies, and it will be tough for him to try to get a win in prime time, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to beat the Carolina Panthers at home 21-14 on Thursday Night Football. Then we have some Sunday morning football again with the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots in Frankfurt, Germany on the NFL Network. It was a really good game between the Dolphins and Chiefs last week. Hopefully the Colts and Patriots will be a good game as well. Obviously, Anthony Richardson's still out for the season. Gardner Minshew's been playing decent football, and the Colts did beat the Panthers last week, and they are 4-5 on the season, so they're still technically not out of the playoff picture. New England, they're 2-7. Mac Jones has not been playing consistent football. His offensive line has not really protected him well either, and there's no home field advantage for either team, so it will be interesting to see how both of these teams perform playing in another country. But I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts to beat the New England Patriots 28-21. The Colts have looked better than the Patriots this season, and I think that will continue in this game. Then to move on to the 1 o'clock games, you got the Houston Texans traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. C.J. Stroud played a great football game last week with 470 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. He has been playing sensational football. Outside of that loss to Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers, he's looked really good. He only has 1 pick all season long. A lot of people think he'll be the rookie of the year. He probably should be, as long as he can keep up this level of play. The Texans are 4-4. They're not having a bad year, but Cincinnati's been hitting their stride. Joe Cool has been playing way better lately. He looks healthier than he has all season long. And if Burrow can have another really good game and Jamar Chase is available, which it looks like he should be able to play, not 100% sure, but even without Chase, I think the Bengals offense and defense will be a little too much for the Texans, and it's going to be a tough road environment for the Texans to try to play. And I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Houston Texans 28-17. Then you got the New Orleans Saints traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Both of these teams are 5-4, and obviously Kirk Cousins is out for the season. That's a tough blow to the Vikings, but Justin Jefferson could be returning soon off of his injury. It's not 100% confirmed that he will play in this game, but we'll have to see. Joshua Dobbs did lead Minnesota to victory last week. In New Orleans, they've been up and down, but they still have a good defense, and Derek Carr, he's gotten healthier as well, like Joe Burrow, and he's been playing some decent football, but it is at the Minnesota Vikings. That's going to be a tough road environment for the Saints, who normally play better at home. I'm going to go with the Vikings to beat the Saints 24-21. Then you got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Green Bay is 3-5. They finally got a win last week, something that Jordan Love desperately needed, and the Pittsburgh Steelers got a good win last week against the Tennessee Titans on Thursday Night Football. Kenny Pickett has not had a healthy year, and he also hasn't been playing great football, but the Steelers still have a good defense, and they have a tough home environment. And Jordan Love, even though he did get a win last week that should help boost his confidence, hopefully for the rest of the season for Packer fans, it's going to be very tough to get a win at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll go with Pittsburgh to beat Green Bay 21-14 for the Steelers to move to 6-3. Then you got the Tennessee Titans traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tennessee's 3-5. Will Levis has been filling in admirably for Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill's questionable. He could return, but Will Levis is definitely a viable option at quarterback. The rookie's been playing well. Tampa Bay, though, Baker Mayfield, he has not been healthy all year either, but he looks healthy the last couple games. And the Bucs did have a good performance against the Houston Texans on offense, but they were not able to get enough stops against C.J. Stroud, and they fell short in that game. But I do think that Tampa Bay being at home and the fact that the Titans aren't the best offensive team in the NFL by no means, that will help the Buccaneers get the win. I'll go with the Bucs to beat the Titans 24-21. Then you've got a really good game on Fox at 1 o'clock between the San Francisco 49ers traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of these teams had a bye last week, and Brock Purdy and the Niners have been reeling. They've lost 3 games in a row after their hot start at 5-0 in the NFL season this year. But now being 5-3, some people have wavered on their belief in the 49ers and in Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy will have a bounce-back game here off of the bye week. Deebo Samuel's getting healthy. It looks like he could play. Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey are all playing well. The defense for the Niners just has to do more. They got to create more havoc like they normally do. And Jacksonville, they're a tough team to get pressure on because Trevor Lawrence can escape the pocket and he can run downfield. He's a really good passer. And I believe that Jacksonville's playing some of their best football of the season. They started out the year playing not too well, but they played much better football the last few weeks. It's going to be a tough game to win on the road, but I will go with the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 28-27 in a really close game. I could definitely see Jacksonville winning, but something tells me the Niners are going to stop their 3-game losing streak. Then you got the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens to round out the 1 o'clock games. The Browns are 5-3, actually having a decent season, even without Deshaun Watson, who's been out a lot. PJ Walker's been filling in, but the Browns are starting to get healthier. They got a really good defense, but the Ravens have been playing fantastic football. Lamar Jackson is in the MVP race with the stats that he's putting up, and they have a really tough home crowd. Cleveland does have Deshaun Watson back, and he did play good football last week, and the Cleveland Browns went over the Arizona Cardinals. This should be a decent game. I think that the Browns can possibly hang for the first half of this one, but I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Cleveland Browns 31-14. I think the home crowd is going to be too much, and Lamar Jackson, he's probably going to put up big numbers against the Cleveland Browns defense. And then to move on to the 4 o'clock games, you got the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is an interesting game because Atlanta's 4-5. They've been competitive for the most part this season. They've got a good defense, and they usually play some close, low-scoring games. But Arizona has Kyler Murray potentially returning. It looks like Kyler Murray is finally returning off his ACL injury, which is great news for Arizona, who's had an abysmal season at 1-8 with their only win over the Dallas Cowboys. Go figure. But we'll have to see if Kyler Murray can make the difference. It's going to be tough for him to shake off all that rust of being out for a whole year and be able to just return and play at a high level. We'll have to see how he does if he plays. If he does not play, Clayton Tune will still be at quarterback, but Clayton Tune has had some struggles of his own, the rookie out of Houston. I think that Atlanta's defense will shut down the Arizona Cardinals offense, even if Kyler Murray's in, and I think Atlanta will be able to score just enough. I'm going to go with the Falcons to move back to 500 to beat the Arizona Cardinals 17-14. Then you got the Detroit Lions traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Lions are 6-2. They had a bye last week, and the Chargers are 4-4, and they got a big win over the New York Jets last week on Monday Night Football. Even though the Chargers are only 4-4, they're getting healthier. Austin Eckler's back. He's playing well. Justin Herbert's still putting up good stats, but the Lions have Jared Goff, and outside of that bad loss to the Ravens, Detroit has looked good this season. David Montgomery looks like he could be coming back off of his injury. Jahmyr Gibbs has been playing well, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, and Detroit's got a good defense, but they're going on the road, even though they're coming off a bye. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers to beat the Detroit Lions 28-27. I like the way the Chargers have been playing the last couple weeks, and I think that momentum is going to carry over with the big win over the Lions. Then you got the New York Giants traveling to the Dallas Cowboys. This is a tough matchup for the Giants because you have Daniel Jones out for the season with an ACL injury. That stinks for Daniel Jones. You hate to see it. And then you've got Tommy DeVito or Matt Barkley could be the starting quarterback in this game because Tyrod Taylor's out as well. So the Giants, they have a mess at the quarterback position. And the Dallas Cowboys, they're coming off a tough loss to the Eagles, and they're at home. You know they're going to play hungry and want to get a big win here to make a statement. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to beat the New York Giants 31-14. I have a hard time seeing the Giants putting up a fight against the Cowboys, but you never know. It is the NFL. Then you got the Washington Commanders traveling to the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle got beat fairly easily by the Baltimore Ravens last week, and I feel like just like the Dallas Cowboys, Seattle's going to want to bounce back in this game, and the fact that they're at home, they have a really great home crowd is definitely going to help them out. Washington, though, has been competitive. Even though they're only 4-5, they had those good games against the Eagles, even though they weren't able to beat them, and they've had some other solid performances as well, and the Commanders were able to beat the New England Patriots last week. Sam Howell's actually top 10 in the league in a lot of stats at the quarterback position, so he's been playing well, but still being on the road in Seattle coming off a tough loss, I think the Seahawks will bounce back with a 31-21 win over the Commanders. Then to move on to the Sunday Night Football game, you've got the New York Jets traveling to to the Las Vegas Raiders. This could be a doozy right here because you got the Jets at 4-4 and the Raiders at 4-5. Both teams need a win for their playoff push if they can achieve one. And the Raiders are a team that's fired Josh McDaniels. They have a completely different staff out there. And with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers could be getting healthy soon. He's been throwing some passes, probably not going to be available for this game. But Zach Wilson's been struggling the last couple of weeks. He hasn't been getting the best protection, but some of his throws have been off. Both teams are really struggling on the offensive side of the ball. But I do think that the Raiders, because they were able to get a win over the Giants last week, and the fact they have a new staff, maybe they'll be starting to build some momentum. And since Aaron Rodgers is still out, I think that the Raiders will get a close, low-scoring win over the New York Jets, 17-14 on Sunday Night Football for the Raiders to move back to 500 on the season. And for the final game in the Week 10 slate of the NFL, you've got the Monday Night Football game between the Denver Broncos traveling to the Buffalo Bills. This could be a mismatch. Denver did beat the Kansas City Chiefs, but it was in Mile High. But Denver has struggled at times this season as well. They've had some bad performances, like the loss to the Miami Dolphins, which that game was on the road. Denver's 3-5, so they haven't been as bad as they've been in some other seasons lately the last few years. But the Bills are 5-4. They really need a win. They've been reeling a bit with a couple of tough losses. I do believe that the Buffalo Bills are going to play hungry, and they want to get a big win to boost themselves up in the playoff race in the NFL this season. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to get a bounce-back win over the Denver Broncos, 35-14. I feel like Josh Allen's going to have a big game, and Denver probably won't have enough defense to be able to slow down the Buffalo offense, and it's also at home. I think Buffalo should cruise to victory on Monday Night Football. And then you have the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Rams, the Miami Dolphins, and the Philadelphia Eagles on bye this week, but you still got 14 big games to look forward to in the Week 10 slate of the NFL. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about all of these games and which teams you think will win and which teams you think will lose these games, and what you think about every single pick that I made for all of these games in the NFL. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.